Hey, what's up, guys? Tugi here, back again for the first time in a while. Now, for those of you that follow me on Twitter, which really, I'm going to stress this. If you don't, you probably should. But if you follow me on Twitter, you would know that I've been sick for the better part of a week now. And I've tried streaming at certain points. That hasn't gone too well. And I definitely wasn't, in a spot to be able to record videos at that point in time. But I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Not quite to 100% just yet, but good enough to start getting these videos back up. Although this might not be the longest video, depending on when I feel my voice start to go. Maybe it will be a bit of a longer video and there just won't be a Hartford episode today. I am not sure. We'll figure it out. But I'm glad to be back. Also, another reason to follow me on Twitter, or at the very least to follow me on Twitch, is that apparently people have been getting not copyright strikes, but just channel strikes in general for putting up a video, like, the video that I put up saying, hey, I'm live on Twitch. Apparently I can get a channel strike from doing that now. So that's cool. So really, I do stress following me on Twitter for certain updates. It is quite helpful. But anyway, getting into today's episode here with the Habs. Now, I've had some extra time, obviously, to think about what needs to be done with this team. And it seems like we've always been in that spot. And, here we are yet again. We need a top 6 sniper. I was thinking that to begin with. You guys really kind of confirmed it in the comment section. We need a sniper for this team. The problem is, the last time we thought, hey, let's go out and get a sniper, we acquired John Tavares. And things have been awful for this franchise ever since we went out and acquired John Tavares. And that really got me thinking, like, this team has no heart. This team has no soul, because all of these players were acquired. That's really the two ways you can play franchise mode. You can go out and build up your team through the draft, or you can just go steal everybody from every other team and hope for the best. And that strategy really hasn't worked for us. Really, it's been a mixture of keeping, the core together and bringing in players from other teams like Josh Norris, Joel Farabee, a couple other guys along the way. And it just hasn't worked. So now we find ourselves in this situation where we haven't drafted. I mean, the only player we drafted was Panay. We traded up to get him. But everybody else has been acquired at some point, except for Philip Deneau, who is the sole survivor on this team aside from Noah Juleson. Lucic was acquired from Calgary. Franzen from Boston. Hughes was acquired from Nashville. Of course, we have Juleson. We did draft Norm Jenks way back in 2019, and that's it. So there's really no heart to this team. There's no soul to this team. Not that there was ever really going to be. We were in win now mode for so long that, much like Chicago, whatever draft, for the most part, whatever picks we made, whatever prospects we may have drafted, were immediately traded to go out and get somebody who's better now. And we could look to do the same. There is concern over whether or not some of these players are still going to develop. On the defensive side of things, we don't have any top-notch prospects. Forwards, we have quite a few people. A lot of players are down in the CHL right now, which is a big reason as to why the roster is in the shape that it's in. That's why our fourth line's looking a little bit rough. The AHL by design is looking a little bit rough. We won with Laval again, but the goal now is to develop talent. My point in bringing all this up is that I'm going to start the season on course, right? I'm going to start the season. We're going to basically continue with the same team, although I could go out and acquire 2 better fourth-line guys, to be honest. I mean, down in the AHL, we don't really have that much better in terms of options right now. So I think I'm just going to stay the course with this team. We'll see how Josh Norris does. This is his last chance. Joel Farabee's pretty much got a spot locked up. We'll see what happens. Because otherwise, we're, yet again talking about basically wholesale changes to this team. Or not necessarily wholesale changes, but we're talking about trading away basically every prospect we have that's down in junior right now to try and get better immediately, which I guess is the goal. But that strategy has failed us time and time again. And maybe for the series, at this point, because we are in 2024, we're heading into 2025 in this episode. if we're ever going to win with this team, it's either, and go figure, we just went undefeated if we beat the Bruins. Did we go undefeated? Yes, we did. We just had a 7-0 preseason. Unreal. This series might not go on too much longer. Now, I was planning on having both the Montreal and Hartford series end by, the end of December. I wanted to start, the new year. I meant to edit scouting. That sucks. Basically, both of these current series are a little bit behind schedule. That is not what we needed. So my thought process now is, either with this series, we go all out and we try to win right now. I mean, within the next 2 seasons. Or we take a little bit of time, we build the team up kind of basically from the ground up at this point, and we see if that, slow and steady strategy can get us to where we want to be, which is the Stanley Cup. And needless to say, we have struggled to get there. We made it to the Cup final once, and we lost, and we haven't been close to it since. So the pressure's on. I don't want to fail. I don't want this series to be remembered for the fact that we weren't able to win anything. I can just go best lines for the moment, I think. Who was scratched? I just got to put in Moreau's, and then we're fine. Although goalies, nope, Peterson's still in. Okay, cool. So I just have to put in Moreau's. Sorry, Andrew Smith, but you got to take a seat, buddy. I don't want this series to be remembered for the fact that we haven't won anything. Because I was hopeful that we would at least win a couple of cups. At least a couple. Maybe nothing rebuilding Hockey Town or Vancouver-esque, where we've had just these dominant series over the past few years. But if you were to have told me that Hartford would have more cups, spoiler alert, but hey, you should be following along with that series. Good God, the injuries. If you would have told me that, Hartford has had more cup wins than Montreal, I would have been surprised at the very least. And here we are, again, heading into the 2025 season. We don't have a single cup win on our record. It's very disappointing. All right, let's get this all set up again. Having to do this every time sucks. Philip Deneau is in on the third line. I still want Makar on the third. And down in the AHL, we go best lines. Moreau should be in by default. He is, because we have nobody else that can play. Of course, that team is an outright disaster, but we'll see if some players progress. That's the other big problem with franchise mode, is if these 55 overall guys don't develop, we have to ditch the strategy of trying to build from within, and we have no choice but to go for it. So we'll see what happens. The big turning point for this series will be right around January, around where the All-Star break would have been, and maybe even closer to the deadline, where we'll find out if anybody has developed. If they haven't, then we have to kind of ditch the build from within strategy, and we have to just go all out and try to win ASAP. Whether or not we can do that, whether or not we have the players to be able to do that, we will find out. But I've mentioned so many times now, this series hasn't gone the way I expected whatsoever. I thought for sure we could win with the original core, and ever since then, we've been kind of struggling to get back on track despite acquiring certain players. So it's weird, and I feel like I'm sure I have gone on this kind of tangent multiple times. But for me, at least, I don't know, maybe not for you, but for me, at least, it's always interesting to look back at, even while a series is going on, it's interesting to look back at how a series has progressed, to see what went wrong, when it went wrong, how it went wrong, and, whether or not things were, able to kind of bounce back after that. And for me, in my opinion, we have not bounced back since losing in Season 1. We lost in Season 1, and that was it. We have been in a downward tailspin ever since, no matter what talents we have acquired, no matter what this team has looked like. It has been a struggle. I need to get Murray High Notes onto the third line. Let's see, and that's actually looking fine. And down in the AHL, we'll go best lines again. Rumble, unfortunately, has to sit yet again for Tyrone Moroz. So actually, right now, if we look at the AHL, we still have all of these 55s. Well, actually, no. Well, Morris is a 57, Mironov a 56, Buckley's up there. The development of these players, that's going to be the big-time deciding factor for us as to whether or not we continue on. Because there was that discussion. Can these players actually develop? Will they actually develop? It can happen, but will it happen? And if it doesn't, then we're in a tad bit of trouble. I can't remember. I think Jesse Wall is actually one of the players we need to get into our lineup. So I will edit that whenever I get a chance. Let's go 4 weeks for forwards again. The funny thing is, though, we have a pretty solid record. I'm not going to hype it up too much because we'll start losing games, and immediately we lose 3 straight. We still have a decent record, all things considered. So I can't claim to be too disappointed. All right, so Atkinson was roughed up, but he's looking good. Panayi is up to an 82. Only has 5 points. Yeah, top line could definitely use a big-time goal scorer. I still want to keep him there, though, to see if that improves his development or not. Of course, there was the talk, if we get a sniper, Norris goes, Atkinson drops down to the second-line center spot. That is the plan. Yeah, Wall was indeed one of the players that we needed in our lineup. Rose gets in. Maybe? Please? Possibly? Thank you. And, all right, that's looking good. Goalies, again, there's no point in putting Peterson as the starter, because auto-rotate will kick in. Let's go with... Let's see, do we have any righties? Only one righty, anyway. Hronik and Jarabek. There we go. Let's go with that lineup. Have Moroz up top, and then on offense. Not that I want to have to sit here and set this up time and time again, but we'll do what we got to do to make sure that our better players are on the top lines. Although there is going to be an odd man out, and that's probably going to be, oh my god, Korolyuk isn't even ours, is he? Is he signed? No, he's not. Jesus, he's just on this team for whatever reason. All right, well, I'm going to take him out, and we'll put in Rumble on offense. And then we have the 2 bottom 6 players, which I don't have much faith in, but we'll see how it goes. All right, put our righties over here. Medium top 6. Yeah, it's not like any of these players have tremendous potential, though. That's certainly something else that we need to consider. It's not like any of them have a tremendous potential. Oh, God. All the ones with a half-decent potential are back down in junior. Damn. So, yeah, we need to get this team back on track. We need to get this team back on track, and can we do it quickly enough to win within a few seasons? And just when you think you have a team set up to find success, that is when they struggle the most, as we have seen so many times. All right, Mironov's out. Let's just go best lines. Jesus. See, that's why throughout the course of a season, very minimal effort in terms of setting up the AHL because it can be awful. Yeah, Mironov's out again. He was 100%. Now he's out again. Sweet. Cool beans to you, sir. All right. OHL defense for 3 weeks. And we'll go goalies for 2. Take a swig of old Arnold Palmer here. The best drink on the planet. We'll need to take a swig because, as it is, it's been, 15 minutes? And I'm already feeling it. That sore throat's kicking back in. It's a damn shame. Philip Deneau is hurt until January 4th. Returning at the Tokyo Dome, apparently. Let's call up Cole Lind again. And we'll see what the team looks like. I will actually edit the AHL lineup again very quickly. Let's go with that setup. And by that setup, I mean... God, this is a mess. There we go. There we go. That's better. And the defense is still set. Beautiful. Down in the AHL. Best lines. Who's scratched? Nobody that we care about. Right. Right. Yeah, none of these players, man, we have to worry about at all. None of them. What are the odds that any of them develop? Oh, it's so frustrating. It is. It is so frustrating. Like, what are the odds that these guys become 82s? It's so incredibly slim. So a problem, or the problem throughout this series has not only been, just our core group of players not getting it done. It's been our drafting, and it's just been the way the draft is set up. Just player development in general. It just hasn't been that favorable for us. I'm not saying that, I'm not saying there's an issue with the game. It's just the luck factor hasn't been on our side. We're going to send Cole Lind down yet again, because we've had him as a featured player. He's not going to be a featured player on this team anyway, so we might as well send him down. Alright, so that's looking better. And then AHL, best lines. Funny thing is, it actually puts Andrew Smith in on the fourth line right wing spot. I got to take out Rumble, though. I got to bring in Moroz, see if he'll develop, even though he won't. We are headed towards a very interesting point in time with this team. We're going to have to blow it up. We're going to have to blow it up. Or not blow it up, but in terms of getting rid of some players, those fringe players, we have to make moves. That's what I'm trying to say. Whether it's at the NHL level or the AHL level. AHL level, I mean, hey, I'm more than all right with celebrating our success, and we have had a lot of success with the Rocket. But that wasn't the goal of this series. The goal of this series wasn't to watch the Calder Cup be raised 3 times. The goal was to watch the Stanley Cup be raised 3 times. That has not happened. It has not happened once. It happened with the Manhattan Project. We won it in the Islanders series. But we haven't won it with the Habs. It has to be because I'm a Bruin. But even then, we won it with Vancouver. Not that I have anything against Canucks fans, because I don't. But I mean, damn, we even won in the Vancouver series. A lot. Back in NHL 16. Yet here we are with Montreal. Panay is up to an 86, by the way, so probably the right choice was made in keeping him on the top line. Farabee at an 85. So yeah, we made the right choice there at least. Then on defense, all right, we're cool to bump up Cale Makar. That's fine. Once we get towards the trade deadline, we'll start taking a look at player development yet again. See how certain players have progressed. Denisov was not a 65, was he? He's improved a lot, I think. I'm going to stop the sim right here on February 1st. Let me see what's going on with Denisov. I don't recall him being a 65. We're currently in 3rd in the division. So we're very much in the playoff race. We're not in a very secure spot, but we're in the race. Let's take a look at progress reports. So at the NHL level, again, whether or not you look at natural growth or statistical/current growth, that is up to you. Panay is up 6 points, though, already. So that's tremendous. He's the only one that's really... Well, I mean, the only one through natural growth that's developed. Through statistical growth, Lucic is up a point. Spike Richmond's up to a 90. He's up 3 points from his start of the year overall. Atkinson's up. Of course, Panay's killing it. Joel Farabee is apparently a 78, but is an 85. He's an 85 through statistical growth. He's apparently only a 78 in reality. How does that work? And should I trade him ASAP? I don't understand that, to be honest, but okay. All right, Quentin Hughes is up a point. Conklin is down a point. That's good, I guess, or through current overall, but not through natural growth. It's such a weird system, man. It is. But in the system is what I wanted to worry about as we get a look at our first player that I really care about. That would be Celios, who is down in junior. And I will say, at least in the case of Edgar Celios, I am now here's the thing. I would typically trade a player like Edgar Celios for someone who's 2 years older and is already at that development level. For example, when you acquire someone like Kurt Cunning or even Cole Atkinson, you're acquiring someone who is already what you hope Celios is going to become. Celios is up 13 points so far this year, so he's looking good. Russell Dixon's only up 1 overall point, and I had a feeling Ivan Denisov, despite being medium top 9, is up 10 points. That is tremendous. So some players are getting better. Casey Martin as well, although I'm pretty sure that's a junior player. I haven't recognized the name really. Clifford's getting better. A couple of some minor improvement here from these guys, but nothing as crazy as the Denisov progression. So Moreau's hasn't gotten any better, unfortunately. Neither has Peterson. So they're technically getting better, but the overall hasn't jumped yet. So it still puts us in such a weird spot. Where do we just stick with these players? Do we just stick with these players? And then any underperforming players that we have now, do we rebuild? In a way. Like, for example, Spike Richmond, we can quote-unquote rebuild and still win within his time frame. And he's killing it. As is Phil Shea. So, our goaltending is set. No doubt. Our defense, with the addition of Lucic and Franzen, they're killing it. We're set. Quentin Hughes still leaves a little bit to be desired, but he's not too bad. Same with Cale Makar. Norm Jenks is doing all right. Mete as a stand-in has done all right. Noah Juleson is fine as a defensive D-man. So again, it's like I think it should be a combination. I think I should go out and acquire who I have to acquire. But, only give up on those players that we're fairly confident won't progress and that we don't really need. So, just taking a look here. Panayi, perfect second liner. That's fine. Cunning's the first line guy. Atkinson is as well. We are clearly missing that goal-scoring threat. That is the missing piece to this team right now. And that third line is actually doing really well. Well, plus minus wise, I should say. Garlock's doing well. Let's see. The problem was too with this third line trio and then Simmons. You don't want to get rid of you don't want to get too many players for the top 6 because they're going to continue to improve. At least Simmons is. So Farabee's doing really well. Josh Norris is doing okay. I don't necessarily want to get rid of Norris. But you move down Atkinson. Have Atkinson, Farabee, and Simmons. You know what? We could even keep Norris. We could. So 18 points there. 13 points there. 79 for faceoffs. Philip Deneau will definitely be better. No, actually, not really. Who's better? What I'm thinking, and actually, the better center is Murray Hinote. That's a bit shocking to me. What I'm thinking is that we go out. I'm sorry, again, my throat's giving out on me. If I'm talking a little bit more quietly than normal, or just not as much, I'm sorry. I'm doing what I can. We could keep Josh Norris. I could even keep him. I don't know if I could keep him happy on the third line, because if we were to do something like this, we'd have to keep Deneau, Hinote, and Conklin happy. Hopefully we could do that with PK time. But when you look at High Note and Conklin, it's not necessarily worth keeping them down there because there's still a chance that they could develop. That's what I wanted to look at. And I'd still say they have a chance to develop, so we can't do that. Well, we can. I mean, this could be a good season for us. This is the constant struggle we have had throughout the course of this entire series. Throughout the course of the whole thing. So again, no problem. Could trade Josh Norris, could get a better right wing, and essentially have this be the team. Get 2 better guys for the 4th line. Easy. No problem. Norris has done all right, though. 25 points in 48 games. He's on pace, slightly behind pace for a 50-point season, which isn't terrible for a second liner. Farabee, 37 points. Also not bad. Simmons, though, only 22 points. It's obvious he's not ready to be a second line guy. So, what the hell do I want to do here, then? What do I want to do? Simmons is going to be a second line guy very soon. Very soon. He's not quite there yet. So maybe just drop Conklin. I don't know how I want to do this. This is the problem. I'm trying to put the pieces together here. Because I can ditch the whole, I want righties on the right deal, although it does help for the power play to have players on their proper handedness. Even though I'm not playing it, it still helps. Go best lines. Look at how the game sets it up. It still helps. I could go even with Atkinson on the right, because he is only a 79 for faceoffs. I could just go out and acquire another goal scorer. Maybe have Farabee, Norris, Atkinson, and then have someone else on the top line with Cunning and Panay. You know what? Let's explore that. And then on defense, we could use some insurance in case of injury. We do have Victor Mete, who's not awful. We also have Filip Hronek. So that's not too bad. Let me take a look, not at the calendar. I'm still adjusting. I don't know how. It's December. I am still adjusting to them changing around some of the buttons. It's just muscle memory at this point. I want to take a look at the goal-scoring leaders. Is there somebody we could acquire? Now, I'm almost certain Kucherov, Stamkos, Tarasenko, that they'll still be up there. Kucherov is someone I would like to acquire. I just don't know if I could pull it off. So, goal-scoring leader. Laine's up there. Currently battling injury. Sagan's up there. Nathan McKinnon. Using him in the Hartford series, though. John Tavares. I hate you. Just for what you've done to me in this series. And then we got Eichel, Keller. Jonathan Drouin. So glad you've decided to start scoring, buddy. Thank you. Kucherov's actually down a little bit. Patrick Laine. Is that possible? Is that possible? Is my question. Full trade value, as you would expect. I would need to throw in at least like one 4th line guy who's at least an improvement on who we have already. I'm looking for someone who's solid defensively. Jason Zucker and Oscar Lindberg both apply. Zucker has 1 year left. Tyinen's not bad. Brian Little at this point. He could work. Kale Bodker, McLeod, Blake Wheeler still hanging around. What about Jason Zucker? So say we use Laine and Zucker, right? We could throw in Clifford because he is not progressing as well as Celios. So we could throw him into the deal. We would still need to throw somebody else into this deal. We could use both Mironov and Martin, but we'd be getting one too many players involved. Let's just use Mironov for now. Didn't mean to go to offer trade or propose trade, but it happened. That's okay. Draft picks. The Philly pick. Is that enough? No, it is not. Actually, two. Do you need a goalie? That could be a deciding factor for me. I was hoping they'd want Peterson. I'm still going to throw Peterson into the deal. And actually, they do have roster spots. I don't even need to throw Mironov into the deal. So Clifford and Peterson for Line. There's no way that'll go through. But, you know, just in case. How about a third-round pick, just in case? Yeah. Straight up? Still no. Clifford, Peterson, and our first, because we're going to make the playoffs, for Line. Right. How about we also throw in our second-round pick? Still no. As you would expect. How about the Philadelphia second-rounder as well? Is that enough? No. I know I'm not offering them pieces that they need, right? But pieces that they need include, players I'm not exactly wanting to give up at the moment because, of course, they're looking to be successful. Will that go through? No. Wow. Oh, the San Jose pick, too? Will that go through? No. All right, so it's basically impossible to get Patrick Laine, is what we have discovered. I had to mute the mic there so I could sneeze. I'm so sorry. Could I have edited that out? Maybe, possibly, but it was such a weird transition. It's fine. It is what it is. Let's keep looking. I can tell you right now, with the way my throat's feeling, this is going to be today's only episode, so the Hartford series will be back soon. I promise. Tyler Seguin. Also currently killing it. The question is, how are the Dallas Stars doing this season? They are killing it. They're not going to want to trade him whatsoever because they're not going to want prospects. Could it not kick me back to my team menu the whole time? Because now I got to sit here and think, like, okay, let me make a short list of players. So McKinnon I don't want to use. You got Tavares. You got Jack Eichel. 4 years left at that price. Jesus. All right, so Buffalo, Arizona, and we'll even say Tampa for Kucherov. Buffalo, Arizona, and Tampa. Tampa's killing it. That's out the window. Arizona's struggling. Buffalo is killing it. So Clayton Keller. Are you available? I'm struggling to see with those attributes how you put up 24 goals. There's really nobody that's a slam dunk, though. That's the problem. There's nobody that's a slam dunk pick to be an amazing player for us. Damn it. Let's keep simming, then. Let's keep moving forward. We got a little bit of time before the deadline. We'll see if there's a bit more separation between the teams, and we'll take it from there. So let's get this set up as we had it before, quick and easy, and we'll keep moving forward. But as it stands, there are players that we could look to, or that we could look to move. Not necessarily, well, there are players we could look to acquire, but there are players that we can look to move out now as well, because we've seen that they're not developing as quickly as some of the other guys. Now, of course, those guys that are developing, we keep. No problem. We keep them, and we see if they develop. But the other ones who are kind of struggling a bit, they're going to get moved out fairly quickly. But I feel like that's a fair trade-off. Then again, some people could argue, well, some of these players might just be late bloomers, which could be the case. Do we have time for that? I don't know if we do. I don't know if we do, because there's always so much demand every episode. Win now, take your time, and then the same people that say take your time say, but you could have done this and it would have helped you win now in the very next comment section, and I love you guys for it. I really do. I'm just saying. Let's take out Rumble. We'll put in Moroz again, who has gone up an overall point, so good for him. The offensive side of things, we're still good. Peterson, though, still a 52. How many games has he played? I mean, he's had enough games to see if he can develop it all. 16 appearances, only 2 wins. Denisov being a 65 already is very impressive, I got to admit. So up to 31 wins now. on the season. We'll continue to track what's happening. Of course, no, that's not great. Of course, we don't expect the Rocket to make the playoffs, so that is not a concern. Conklin is out, which means we'll call up Cole Lind for now, and we'll be good to go. So, best lines yet again. Move Panay back over. So many changes. Let's put... you know what? I'm all right with Philip Deneau on the right. So we go LeBerge. Actually, I'd prefer to go Rooney. LeBerge. Yeah, LeBerge has better face-off, so there you go. Defense is still set. Beautiful. Best lines. Got to take out Rumble again. I'm sorry. It's awful. I hate to have to do that to a legend, but we're doing what we got to do. We just lost 5-1 to Philly. Not tremendous. The injuries continue to add up. This should keep Moreau's in the lineup regardless, though, just because of the lack of players that we have. And you know what? I'm actually going to stop scouting goaltenders at this point, since we know that both Phil Shea and Spike Richmond are the two goalies for the future. We don't really need anybody in the pipeline. It would be nice, but at this point, we'll select a goalie when there's nobody else on the board that we have any info on. Like, that's the next time I'm going to take a goalie in a draft. And that's worked out pretty well. I think that's how we ended up with the goalie that we're considering trading now, if I am not mistaken. So many changes to get this team set up how I want it to be set up. There we go. Defense is still good. AHL best lines. Take out Rumble for Moreau's. Beautiful. How many more injuries am I going to have to deal with just to make this episode last a little bit longer? Right? To take it out on my voice. That's nice of you. Yeah, I got to admit. But I'm fighting through. Postler's back. You know what? Don't care. Don't care. The team's awful. You're not my concern. Kirk Cunning's out. That is my concern. Concussion for one of our best players. At a pretty poor time, I must admit. We'll actually call up Postler. Why not? Him and his $12 million salary. And we're good. Panay is up to an 87. Jesus, so it's... well, you know, let's go Farabee, Atkinson, Panay. Garlock, Norris, Simmons. Deneau, High Note, Conklin. There we go. We'll have Rooney at center this time. Defense is still good. Let's go best lines. Take out Rumble yet again for Moreau's. Sweet. All right, so we've hit our target date. We have 37 wins on the season, despite some obvious weaknesses, particularly on the fourth line. Second place in the division. We're in a it's neck and neck. It's a race between us, Buffalo, and Tampa. Although Tampa have played 3 more games. So really, it's us and Buffalo right now more than anybody else. Let's take a look, see if there's a goal scorer on a team who is struggling, or that are struggling. The team isn't just one person after all. So Laine's still killing it. Oh, you got McKinnon. Kessel at 37 years old, still scoring 30 goals. That's ridiculous. So we know that... All right, so let's see. Winnipeg, Dallas, Colorado, Pittsburgh, Arizona. Right? Let's just say that. Or actually, here, you know what? No, the easier way to do it is just to see what team is struggling, and if they have a player that they're, willing to give up. So 21 wins for St. Louis. Now, they did have Robbie Fabry, who was somewhat up there. Now, see, if you think some of the contracts that I hand out are ridiculous, come on now. I think I deserve a little bit more credit, because I didn't hand Robbie Fabry nearly $11 million for over 4 years. Is he doing well? Sure. But holy hell. I mean, really, it's just his physical category that brings him down. But that takes Robbie Fabry out of the equation, unless there's somebody else who's scoring goals. 16 for Negrin isn't quite what I'm looking for. All right, so St. Louis, we'll see you later. Anybody else? 25 wins for Ottawa. Do you guys have anybody? You do have this Greening guy, but he is struggling. Colin White at 19 goals. Yeah, nobody else that's really killing it. The Devils, only 23 wins. Nobody great. Pavel Zacha, 17 goals. Hischer with 16. Of course, he doesn't have a picture because we started the sim before that roster update came out. A lot of solid teams. The Bruins are the worst team in the league. Sad day. David Pastrnak, 8 goals. Brad Marchand with 19. He's 36. J.C. Ling with 10. There's not that elite goal scorer that we're going to really be able to acquire here. That is the problem. Unless it's someone like Clayton Keller. I think he's really the only guy we're going to be able to get. I mean, he's on a half-decent deal, too. Yeah, you know what? I mean, he's not much of a center, though. But that's okay. I think Clayton Keller's the guy. What's shocking, though, is he's only a second-line forward. You would think he'd be a first-liner. So that is absolutely concerning. With Winnipeg, I want to see what they're interested in getting from our team. Again, no prospects involved. What about Tampa? Meant to go to Tampa. Tampa. Interested in prospects? No. They're still looking to be competitive. Of course, you had Kessel on Pittsburgh. Trying to remember some of the other teams. I mean, it is slim pickings. Arizona, though. Arizona, do you want any of our prospects? No, you don't. All right, so yeah. If we're getting anybody, it has to be Clayton Keller. If we're getting anybody who's at least proven as a goal scorer, it has to be Clayton Keller. Now, I'm going to try to get him on a real sweetheart deal, because that would be very helpful for us. I know that they're in cap trouble right now, but we'll see what happens. So in return, you will get Clifford, the big red dog. You will also get maybe Mironov, because Martin's improving. Mironov's, I think he's gone up a little bit, though, if I'm not mistaken. Like Rammer and McCauley, I think they've gone up too. Is there anybody else that's like a really low overall? Not anyone that's really worth trading at the moment. So the only other piece we have to move is Peterson, who hasn't improved at all. So it's Clifford and Peterson. Now I'm willing to give up both of them because I could get Keller on half salary because of it. I might even be able to get something back in return. That's what we're going to double check right now. So let's just see, for shits and giggles, if this is close whatsoever. Now that's fair, but they just don't want to retain the salary. So if I give up a little bit more, I'll be able to get them to retain the salary. Hopefully. As long as they're not too stubborn. They're a little bit stubborn. You know what? I mean, here's the thing. I don't need them to retain the salary. It was worth a shot, but taking away that first round pick makes the deal no longer worth it for me. So let's go with that current setup. Will that go through? Yes, it will. Might have been able to get a little bit more back for him. It would have been another second, another third. But I guess, yeah, the initial offer was just a little bit low in their mind because I guess that's really the only answer there. So we'll send down Postler, and then it's Rooney or LeBerge that gets sent down. Probably both of them. I could acquire somebody who's a little bit better than both, although LeBerge is a fourth-line guy. So I could go out and acquire... Actually, I could do that right now since Cunning is still out. Let's go best lines. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, because I was looking at Tampa off stream earlier, or off video, I should say. You know what I meant. This guy, Worrell, half decent. 19 points. And then the other guy was actually a familiar face, and Taylor Lear who hasn't played at the NHL level at all. So I'm going to see if I can get this guy Worrell from Tampa. And to do so, and I know some people are probably freaking out like, Jesus, you just got fleeced in an Arizona deal. It's like, not that badly. I did, but not that badly. Let's give up Lemon. Let's give him up in this deal. You just got to figure, I have faith that Peterson's not really going to develop, and I tried to get somebody who had even more value than what Clayton Keller does, and it just wasn't happening. That's not going to go through 1-for-1. All right. How about a 6th-round pick in there? And as it is, I have a lot of picks, too, in the upcoming draft. It's not as if we're not going to be able to do damage at a later date. Really, though? I'm not giving up a 4th-rounder in this. Tampa, you're going to make this work. Tampa, Steve Yzerman, you and I have history. Let's not write a new chapter. All right, we're writing a new chapter. You get the Nashville 3rd, and you'll like it. Steve Yzerman, if you would please cut it out. I get that I traded you Carey Price, and now he's on the trade block. I know. But just know that that's not a victory for you. Getting that 3rd-round pick is not a victory for you. It just makes me hate you that much more and makes me that much more determined to fleece you yet again. Clayton Keller's now our leading scorer. Just throwing that out there. Might not be the best sign. The game is definitely going to sign someone for us at the AHL level, but that's okay. I expect that team to be pretty much awful. And we're going to send down Rooney first, and then LeBerge once Cunning is back. So let's go best lines for now. So we're going to have, for the moment, let's go Panayi, Keller, Atkinson. Second line is still the same. Third line still the same. And then fourth line is good for now. Although I'm actually going to set it up that way because I want to. And our defense, I mean, it's looking all right. Our defense has been a major contributor to this team this season. But we have acquired Clayton Keller. And then down in the AHL, so Moroz is the only scratch that we have to worry about. And I'm intrigued to see what goalie it signed for us. It's going to take a bit of time to get the Laval Rockets set up the way we want them to be set up. It signed Raimo Kapanen. Neat. All right. So there we go. Denisov is a 67. His insane development continues. That's pretty much the only move I'm going to make. I mean, we send out 2 prospects that I'm fairly confident aren't going to develop, right? I wouldn't do that deal if I thought neither would develop. The problem, too, as I mentioned with Clayton Keller, is there was nobody on that higher level that we were going to be able to trade for because they were on good teams. They didn't want to move them to begin with. And anybody else of a higher level, we're talking about a full trade value bar. And you saw what I tried to just give up for Laine. It didn't happen. So the hope is that Clayton Keller is what we need him to be. We will find out if that is the case. So our team now is going to be... Actually, you know what? The idea of having Farabee, Cunning, and Keller, the FCK line, is looking pretty decent. Then Panayi with Atkinson, not Conklin. We'd probably go with Norris. Norris is actually a much better center. At least face-off wise. So let's see. Panayi is up to 32 points. Atkinson, wow, Atkinson's killing it lately. And we know Keller's killing it. You know what? Keller, Cunning, Atkinson. The KCA line. Even better. We'll see how they can do. And in the second line of Panayi, Norris, and Farabee. I'm actually going to put Panayi on the right. That top 6 is definitely looking better. And then we have Garlock with High Note and Simmons. Worrell. Yeah, we can have Worrell on that side. Worrell, Deneau, Conklin. Not bad. Not too shabby. And then our defense is pretty much set. Spike Richmond is killing it. Phil Shea is killing it. Now, here's the thing, guys. My voice is going to give out. So next episode will be another somewhat larger episode as we'll go through the rest of the season. We'll take a look at all the awards, all the player progression, and we'll also go through, at the very least, the first round matchup if we make the playoffs, which right now is looking like there's a pretty solid chance of that happening. So we have, and it's deadline day. So in fairness, we could make one more move if we had to. But again, the big move of the day, acquiring Clayton Keller for this prospect here, Rich Clifford, who in fairness is up to a 60. He went up a couple of points just because I traded him. So that's a bit scary. That's just a little bit scary. And we also gave up Peterson, who is still a 52. So you could argue that maybe I should have just given up Peterson and a bunch of picks. You can definitely argue that. No doubt. My defense is I'm in pain and I need cold medicine. So if that's not a good enough excuse, I apologize. But as mentioned, we have draft picks. If I wanted to, badly enough, I could probably go out and reacquire the player we just traded. I'm not too worried about that, though. Not too worried about that. We have a chance in the upcoming draft to end up with a couple of steals. So that'll do it for this one. I thank you for watching. I thank you for your patience while I've battled this sickness and continue to battle this. Again, I've said it on stream. I'd rather be dealing with like a broken foot than deal with just a simple cold/flu, whatever the hell I got going on here. Because streaming, making videos is part of my daily routine, and to disrupt that is incredibly frustrating. But I thank you very much for watching. I'm gonna go down some NyQuil and go to bed. Not sponsored by NyQuil. Probably should be after this past week. I'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one. Take it easy. Goodbye.